TikTok's For You page has changed how Gen Z interacts and interprets news by simply reinforcing the beliefs they already have. But wait, let's back up a little bit. Starting around 2010, smartphone purchases increased by 32%, becoming a big part of everyday life. This shift changed how people communicated and how they received news. During this time, we started to see real-time information spread from social media platforms. Users began to receive news updates from feeds and viral posts, not just the newspapers. For many during this time, social media wasn't just entertainment, it was how they got their news. 41% of Americans reported getting their news from the internet. In response, news organizations began to shift their content for digital and mobile audiences. Growing up alongside this system was Gen Z. Then came 2020. The pandemic and America's peak racial tensions pushed nearly everyone online. Social media became one of the primary news sources for news updates. A new social media platform took off, allowing youth to share their thoughts on the issues happening in their country. This app was called TikTok. Social media had become a place where news was not only shared, but also reported and interpreted by users. But this wasn't always the case. Before the rise of social media platforms, journalists like Walter Lippmann believed journalism should help people better understand the world and their place in it by giving them accurate, well-curated news. In the 20th century, audiences relied on newspapers to filter what information was given to the public. Today, any and everyone can share their opinion and blur the lines between misinformation and truth, the very thing Lippmann was concerned about. Unlike other social media platforms, TikTok's For You page recommendation system takes the news that you like, comment, repost, and share, then recommends more news and information that you may like. Zoe Cullen, a PhD candidate, described this as algorithmic crystallization, which is the idea that social media algorithms reflect the identity of users to themselves.
What the For You page is really good at is picking up on previous patterns of engagement. So it's really good at understanding what a user is interested in and what they find important. So the kind of a canonical comparison is between, now it's not so much the case with Instagram Reels anymore, but it was that this idea of when comparing the TikTok's For You page to other platforms might have a really shallow or surface level or one-dimensional understanding of who a user is, whereas the TikTok algorithm is really good at picking up on multiple aspects of a user's identity. So it can be their taste in music, what news they find important, what their hobbies are, what their interests are, and what their preferences are. And based on those previous patterns of engagement that users, save, maybe rewatch a video, TikTok will learn more and more about them until their feed is kind of, in their words, like you'd be able to understand them from their feed.
When a system is constantly learning your behavior, your feed begins to match your existing interests and beliefs. Instead of exposing you to a wide range of viewpoints, the For You page can quietly tighten your information bubble. Research has defined this as a filter bubble.
But what I also think is kind of more interesting than just this idea of algorithmic curation is that the types of videos on their feed are usually by content creators, right? This is all user-generated content. They're not reading a New York Times article, and they're not watching the nightly news. It's usually from this content creator who, not to say that they don't have their own valuable and important lived experiences and even some degree of expertise, but it's usually framed through this kind of subjective interpretation of this is my take. These are my kind of hot thoughts on this topic. So in that way, it's kind of more identity aligned. It's kind of this personal narrative that users are not only kind of getting what content to see, but how they're seeing this content and how they're consuming this information is also very different from kind of previous avenues of news consumption.
A 2023 article from research scholars show that Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram are adopting a For You page recommendation system that mirrors TikTok.
The idea of a platform kind of deciding what we see isn't great either, because if we used to have, this institution of journalism that decided what was newsworthy, in a sense, TikTok kind of democratizes that because it allows users to determine for themselves what is important. So I would be hesitate to kind of have the platforms themselves engineer this balance and, take over the role of journalism to decide what is and what is not newsworthy. I think that anything that allows more transparency into how the algorithm works and how users are able to kind of enforce some agency over what they see.
Almost a century ago, Littman believed that in a world filled with information, it's the job of journalists to use real advocacy journalism, which focuses on integrity, accuracy, transparency, and objectivity. Journalists had more of a say in what mattered and what was published. Today, we see a shift as recommendation algorithms play a larger role in deciding what we see. Instead of showing us what's important, it shows what we're most likely to watch. But as Cullen said, just because this is the content we're given, it doesn't mean we can't travel outside and learn more about other perspectives, which can continue to enlighten us.